7 force field. Don't worry. I'll break you out of there. Glad I could help.
Canadians, Americans, members of the Commonwealth, and patriots the world over. Welcome to the show that tells you what they won't. Exposing the fake news, conspiracies, and corruption within institutions that govern our lives. And red-pilling the nations one fact at a time. It's Weathering the Storm with your host, Canada's Red Pill, Billy Joyce. Good evening, folks, and welcome to another show. I hope all the mothers out there had a great Mother's Day. I had a pretty good day. I'm going to get right into it. I know some people out there may be reluctant to follow people that still follow Anon, but listen, I don't believe in coincidences, and just because there are some other people out there who feel like Q's been taken over and not giving anything relevant anymore, I kindly disagree. And if that means that I'm committing some sort of YouTube suicide, well, I don't only cover Q, but because I feel Q is probably the biggest story on the planet at the moment, I'm going to continue to do so long as it keeps me discovering things. Because bottom line is, that's what I think QAnon has done. It is unleashed a virtual army of information gatherers and information sharers. And I'm very happy to be part of it. And I'm very happy to do what I'm about to do tonight. Now, I'm going to go back to Q posts from Saturday and from today. And I just want to show everyone that Q reminds us just how big the work is that President Trump, Q, and all the others are doing behind the scenes, particularly the men and women of the U.S. Armed Forces and their allies, their real allies, whom have yet to really be officially recognized. Now, before we start the video, I would like to extend a great big thank you to the men and women that serve in the U.S. military and all their allies, all the allied forces around the world, the white hats that we like to call them, that are working tirelessly and sometimes sleeplessly to help restore peace on this God-forsaken planet. And I would like to ask God the Father to extend a protective hand over everyone involved in this movement. So I'm going to start with a Q post from Saturday, May 12th at 22:24 p.m. 22:24 p.m. 10:24 p.m. 22:24 Eastern Time. If America falls, the world falls. God bless our brave fighting men and women. They deserve our deepest gratitude. Through their strength and the millions of united patriots around the world, we will succeed in this fight. Peace through strength. Now comes the pain. Q then points us to a post from May 4th reminding us just how deep the swamp is and how it is being drained, beginning with the FBI. Now, I don't think I really had to explain that previous post. Everything was pretty much straightforward there, eh? So Q points us to a post that he put up on April 4th. It was a Friday. And, yeah, I believe it was a Friday. No, sorry, May 4th. May 4th, a Friday. And it was the one on all the various FBI firings that have been going on. And he followed up this post with his own post, and the post goes, sealed indictments. Define indictment. An indictment is a formal accusation against one or more defendants, charging them with one or more crimes. In the federal criminal system, the indictment is the principal method by which a prosecutor initiates criminal proceedings. How are they sealed? How are they secured? How are they safeguarded? No leaks, unusual. Federal versus, chances are that would be federal versus state. Why are accusations sealed? Grand jury involved? Reread crumbs regarding DOJ, FBI, regarding Inspector General and Uber. Who appointed Uber? Sessions. What depths must be cleaned prior to REC fair and equal justice under the law? Prior to receiving fair and equal justice under the law. What happens if Fed criminal indictments are brought forth to a corrupt FBI, DOJ, Fed judge? FBI, DOJ first, CIA, state next. Now comes the pain. There's that now comes the pain again. So when you look through that entire Q post, he defines what an indictment is right from the get-go. But then when he asks, how are they sealed, how are they secured, how are they safeguarded, no leaks unusual, I'm guessing it's all held at the Department of Justice. That would be my guess. They're sealed by the Department of Justice. And federal versus state, why are accusations sealed, grand jury involved, reread crumbs. That there's no use in unsealing all these indictments, because you just never know what kind of prosecutor is going to get their hands on it. You never know what kind of judge is going to get the trial. And I'm not sure how it works in the US, but I believe in Canada, a defendant has the right to pick where he wants like if it's something that can be tried in various states, the defendant can actually pick where it's tried. Now, I'm not sure if that's how it works in the States, or if it's prosecuted under a state jurisdiction. Well, then it has to be in that state. So my opinion is simply that the cleaning up we're seeing in the FBI, and then we're supposed to see it in the CIA and the State Department next. The DOJ, that's all being cleaned as we go. And that's all I think they're doing, is they're cleaning it up. And we will see these indictments, but it has to be cleaned up first. So then Q points us to a website called nationalsecurityaction.org. And when you go to their Who We Are page, I kid you not, this is going to shock everyone. It shocked me. We are Americans, former senior officials and policy experts, academics and civil society leaders who have seen firsthand how the United States is stronger, safer, and more respected in the world when we stand strong with our allies, pursue principled diplomacy, and stay true to the values that have long defined America at home and abroad. That sounds cute, right? That sounds pretty reasonable. That sounds like something legit. So you continue, and then you go to their mission. What is their mission? National Security Action is dedicated to advancing American global leadership and opposing the reckless policies of the Trump administration that endanger our national security and undermine U.S. strength in the world. It says the National Security Action is committed to bringing together and mobilizing an unparalleled network of former senior officials and policy experts, academics, and civil society leaders who are dedicated to a progressive vision of American global leadership. I wonder, by that, do they mean sending billions and billions of dollars on pallets all over the world to your Muslim buddies? Is that what that means? Shining a bright light on the Trump administration's reckless policies, underscoring their dangerous consequences, and equipping Americans with the arguments to counter them. I wonder which Americans are being equipped with the arguments to counter them. Can anyone say CNN, NBC, CBS, ABC, CBC, CTV, Global? Ring a bell? Developing compelling messaging and communication strategies, serving as a bridge between the policy and the political worlds to shape the national security debates taking place in Washington and around the country. They have no business being there. They said it themselves. They are former senior officials and policy experts. They're no longer there. So what in the hell are they doing serving as a bridge between the policy and political worlds? a lot of these bozos probably go to Canada 2020. Serving as a resource for allies in Congress, grassroots organizations, and emerging leaders in Washington and across the country who share our vision, values, and sense of purpose. So if you think that Hollywood elites diddling people and full-grown adults diddling people and having affiliations with sex cults and people that brand other human beings and ripping off victims of floods globally and infecting people with the HIV virus, so yeah, if you believe that is serving as a resource for allies, yeah, I guess it fits the bill. Building a strong, unified, progressive opposition to the Trump administration's dangerous policies. Oh, you mean those dangerous policies where he got North Korea to commit to possibly denuclearizing? You know, where we actually seen them dismantling their nuclear facilities? Is that the kind of dangerous policies they're talking about? Or maybe they're talking about wiping out Iran. Or wiping out the, not Iran, but ISIS. What about wiping out ISIS? I guess those are dangerous policies as well, right? Which are making the United States less safe and diminishing our standing and influence in the world. Wow. The first time a president is ever given opportunity to enter into the Forbidden City in China. One of the first times a president's given a sword dance in Saudi Arabia. The guy is treated like a king everywhere he goes, red carpet treatment. But, President Trump's administration, their dangerous policies are making the United States less safe and diminishing our standing. I mean, I'm not American, but in my eyes, the America under Donald Trump is much more respect-worthy than anything Obama or Clinton or the Bushes offered us. So when you wonder who the hell these people are, this national security action, well, it looks like one of the co-chairs is Ben Rhodes, and the other co-chair is Jake Sullivan. Now, Ben Rhodes, what struck me first was this whole Rhodes Scholar that you hear of often, and I believe the guy that the Rhodes Scholarship was named after was a high-ranking Freemason, or a Jesuit, or both, but I digress on that. It looks like officially, Ben Rhodes is an American political advisor and former White House staff member who served as the Deputy National Security Advisor for Strategic Communications for U.S. President Barack Obama, and as an advisor to the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action with Iran. Iran. My goodness, Iran's in the news a lot these days. Okay, so Ben Rhodes, the other guy, Jake Sullivan. Jake Sullivan is an American policymaker and was a senior policy advisor to Hillary Clinton, Hillary Clinton's 2016 U.S. presidential election campaign, with expertise in foreign policy. Wow. He was spoken of as a frontrunner for the position of U.S. National Security Advisor under a potential Hillary Clinton administration before she lost to Donald Trump in the 2016 presidential election. But I feel bad. But they had to go and form their own little shadow government. We'll get to that. Q confirms that later. So let's look at some of the members of this fine group of people. You've got like Wally Aldamo, served as Deputy National Security Advisor to International Economics from 2015 to 2017. Oh, Obama. Basically, you go through the whole list. And they're all people that either served under Obama or a Clinton, or well, you just go through them. I mean, there's a dozen there anyway. All Obama Clinton people, and they work for this national security action, whatever the hell that is. Did anyone elect them? Were they elected there? Were they appointed by elected officials? Who created this? Where does it come from? Who finances it? I wonder. We may get to that later. So I'm not going to go through everything that's on their webpage. I'm pretty sure what I already read to you is enough to make your stomach turn. But you can go through there because there's also some interesting points later. I may as well go through a couple of the highlights. Just a couple of things that I find in the article. Americans deserve a president and a commander-in-chief who is disciplined, level-headed, trustworthy, and who respects the democratic traditions and institutions that have made the United States secure at home and a beacon around the world. Hey, that's great. We have that right now. President Trump. Our president should make us proud, and we should never feel ashamed by his or her conduct. That's awesome. That's awesome right there. It's like they're agreeing with Trump. Oh, wait, next paragraph. President Trump is dismantling the sources of our strength in the world, making the United States less safe and putting Americans at risk. How is North Korea possibly denuclearizing? How is North Korea and South Korea meeting in the demilitarized zone, shaking hands, hugging? I mean, all they didn't do is kiss. How is that making the United States or anywhere else in the world less safe? How is taking out the deep state in Syria and now in Iran through Iranian bases in Syria? How is it that getting rid of those things makes it unsafe for the world? I mean, I know the mainstream media and even some truthers that have been truthers for a long time thought World War III was breaking out the night that President Trump announced that they were taking out chemical facilities in Syria. We knew what they were. Anyone following Q knew what was going on that night. But they couldn't reveal their hand to everyone. They had to give a reason that the whole world would be able to accept. How do you think people would have reacted that night if they said, oh, we're going to take out some deep state CIA assets inside of Syria? People would have been, what the hell are you talking about? The CIA's running Syria? People would have lost their minds. So you have to say something that would appease the masses for the meantime. But we know, anyone following Q should know, that the United States right now is setting up a situation globally that's going to allow every country to be a sovereign country. No longer this New World Order crap. No longer this globalist crap. No longer this help everybody else and let our own people suffer. It's coming to an end. So, like I said, I'm not going to read through those. I'm not going to read through all of them. When you read through it yourselves, and please do, please take the time to go read through some of this stuff. But basically what I just described to you is like this shadow government. And I didn't come upon that by myself. Anons and autists inside of 8chan were the ones that pointed out the website. Well, Q pointed out the website, but they're the ones that posted those pictures, and it made me go digging in there. And when the Anons and the autists found the website, posted information, Q responded with, well done. And then he actually posted to that, to the link that I initially posted, he put loop. And when I saw loop, I mean, most people are like, oh, what's he doing there, throwing us for a loop? No. He's referring to a company called Loop Capital. Now, Loop Capital, I believe I mentioned Loop Capital in one of my very first videos. And it's been a while since Loop Capital has come back up. And Loop Capital, they, back in the day, we had typed, well, the Anons, the autists on 8chan, everyone that's part of this movement, had figured out that Loop Capital was more than likely involved in the whole Uranium One scandal. And what we're getting from this is that they're the ones financing this shadow government. Now, what's interesting is that Anons and autists found links between Loop Capital and Barack Obama. And now you're going to have to take my word on that, because I did not have time to go digging into that again. I do remember it vividly. I do remember that there's a connection. I believe Loop Capital is even based out of Chicago. And from what we dug, the information we found is Loop Capital is very much involved with Barack Obama. And Q seems to be pointing us in the direction here to say that Loop Capital are the people that fund this National Security Action .org. And really, when you look at it, it's a group of former high-ranking government officials. So then, an Anon posted, FBI and DOJ must clean. Once cleaned, implications huge. Don't forget the judges, though. Many are comped. And then Q says, why are D's, Democrats, slow-walking POTUS presidents, federal judge nominations? Watch what happens. And then he puts in kill brackets, -30 Q. So I'm not sure if that means watch what happens. They've got 30 days. Watch what happens in the next 30 days, or watch what happens in less than 30 days. Not quite sure exactly what that means, but I know why the Democrats are slow-walking president's federal judge nominations. It's because they're scared to death that their cronies are going to be removed and replaced with actual honest judges that will find them guilty of the crimes that they've all committed. So that's why the Democrats are slow-walking the president's nominations. Then an Anon responded to Q's post on nationalsecurityaction.org and called it the shadow government. And Q, I always want to say retweeted, but what Q did is Q just copied what that person wrote, the shadow government, and reposted it himself. And whenever Q does that, he's pointing to the idea of those people being the shadow government. Now, although they don't wield any kind of power politically at the moment, they probably got all the Democrats on their side. They've probably got the Rhino Republicans like John McCain, for example. Jeff Flake would be another one that would be in cahoots with these morons. And they're the ones that feed the talking points to the Anderson Coopers, Wolf Blitzers, Brooke Baldwins of the world. Okay, when you turn on the news, and I finally figured it out because this is exactly where it's coming from. This is where they're getting their information from. Because if you go through the nationalsecurityaction.org and you go look through what they do and you go look at the different talking points they have, you may as well be watching a CNN newscast. Or if you're in Canada, you may as well be watching CBC's version of what's going on in the United States. Now, I've worked in media for almost 2 decades. In some way, shape, or form, I've been involved in community media. And I've learned to pick off frauds. And I'm telling you, what we are fed day in and day out on the mainstream media is bullcrap. And I mean bullcrap. Now, another Anon who had been reading Q's posts was kind of anxious, and he says, Q is saying there won't be arrests until the justice system is cleaned out. That has to include state judges. Do you have any idea how long that will take? We are now looking at next year for the rest of POTUS judges to be confirmed. That's just federal judges. Doesn't include state. So then Q responds to that with, what must happen pre-11th of November? 11th November, provided a strategic marker. Post midterms, red wave coming, strength, justice. You going to bed? Or are you just checking out me doing a video? Do you want to say hi? No, you don't want to say hi. That's my shy 10-year-old. We went to a farm today. It was a lot of fun. They fed goats. I approached the baby calf, and the calf kind of came to me but didn't really want to come to me, and then the mother calf was pissed, so we decided to leave that alone. And then they got their dogs to gather the herd of sheep and bring them down from one field that was up on top of the hill and bring them all the way back to the other side of the farm. And what was really funny, and what was my kind of God moment for the day, was after the dogs were done herding the sheep, there must have been 50, 60, 70 people there, adults with kids, and one of the dogs actually came right to my feet and was basically looking at me to pet it. So that was one of my highlights of today. I mean, apart from seeing the big smile on my kids' faces, but it's one of those things where I try my best to be at one with God's creation. And I may hold political views and I may hold religious views, but I try my best, in a worldly sense at least, to love everyone I come across. And sometimes that's not easy. Anyway, that's a little side note of my activities today. So what must happen pre-11/11? What I think is going to happen pre-11/11, because the Anon is concerned about the federal judges, etc., etc., etc. And I get that, but I think what we'll see happen is before that, we may very well see so many judges and so many Congress people, Democrats and Republicans alike, judges that were appointed by Democrats and Republicans alike. I think we may very well see a lot of those people being fired or arrested for various reasons, or both, fired first and then arrested. Because I believe the parade that President Trump has scheduled for November 11th, 2018, I believe that military parade is going to indeed be a victory parade, and it's going to be a victory over the deep state cabal, satanic cult that's been running this world for decades, if not centuries, possibly even millennia. So then Q switches gears. Those posts, actually, the last post I gave you was from today. It was both of them were from today, actually. So now I'm into the third post from today. Well, it was at 2 o'clock in the morning. Q says, trust must be earned. Trust is not blind, nor is truth. We fight every single day, and he missed the end there. So I'm not sure what that's all about, but he missed the end. We fight every single day on behalf of you, the people who put us here. We knew this day would come. We will never forget. Do not glorify us. We are merely the vehicle. You are what matters. You are hope. You are love. You are peace. Stay united. Stay together. Stay strong. This is bigger than any one person or entity. You are fighting for truth collectively. Will of the people? Trust in yourself. The choice will always be yours. God bless you all. Where we go one, we go all. There are some people out there in YouTube land, in alternative media land, that feel that what they've done in the past gives them a certain entitlement now. And unfortunately, that's not the way the world works, or the way the world... well, maybe it is the way the world used to work, but that's not the way the world should work. Because you can be as good as you want and as honest as you want for as long as you want, but if the day ever comes where you're compromised and you're not as honest as you should be, and you're not as upfront as you should be, and you lack candor, and you feed BS, and you feed propaganda, and you feed fear-mongering too much, well then the past is erased and we must live in the present. And I guess that's kind of tough for me to say, because without naming names, I'm alluding to people that I've respected for over a decade in some cases. And all I'm going to do there, because I don't want to play, I've already mentioned it a few times, I don't want to play the divide game, but all I'm going to do right now is offer up a prayer for all the truthers out there that they have the courage and the will to stick to the truth and nothing but the truth, no matter what. And if they discover that something they thought was truth is wrong, that they can go and correct it. I'm always brought back to a prayer that was on the wall at my house growing up my entire life, and I hope I get it right. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. And that prayer has remained with me. As a matter of fact, this is my keychain. I don't know. I think that's blurry. But there it is. So not only did I have it on my wall growing up, I carry it with me everywhere I go. So that's all we can do. That's all we can do at this point, folks. Maybe you want to adopt that prayer, because I'll tell you it works. And I feel blessed every day that one thing I do lack sometimes is serenity. I'll be honest, I have a hard time with the serenity. The courage part, wisdom to know the difference, the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. There are certain things that people think they cannot change, but sometimes you just got to find a little more courage to change it. That's the way I see that. I'm not saying the prayer is flawed. I'm just saying some of us who are more stubborn than others may apply that prayer differently. So trust must be earned. We fight every single day. We will never forget. Do not glorify us. We are merely the vehicle. You are what? Okay, you are what? I don't often disagree with Q, and I'm sure if Q and I could sit down and we could clarify this little tidbit, you are what matters. You are hope. You are love. You are peace. Stay united. Stay together. Stay strong. Okay. Maybe we matter. Maybe we offer some hope. Maybe we offer some love. Maybe we offer some peace. But it has to be the Holy Spirit working through us, or God the Creator working through us. Because God is hope. God is love. God is peace. Jesus Christ, my Savior. So, thanks for that little compliment, Q. But I won't agree with you completely on that one. I agree with this, though. Stay united, stay strong, stay together. This is bigger than any one person or entity. And I think that has to do with the fact that although I'm Christian, I've made a lot of friends from the Jewish community, from different denominations of Christianity, people that claim to be Muslim, people that claim to be atheist, that are all disgusted with the satanic monsters that have infiltrated every single aspect of our lives. They're sick of it. And that's why I think they said this is bigger than any one person or entity. Put the religious differences aside for now. Just put them aside. Sure, I'd love everyone to be saved and everyone to come to Christ. I'd love it. But for now, let's root out this evil. Let's root out this evil for future generations. Trust in yourself. I trust in myself a bit, but I trust in God more. The choice will always be yours. God bless you all. Where we go one, we go all. I agree, Q. Well, I agree with Q. The next post on May 13th was at 2:40 in the morning, well, 2:39 in the morning. A group representing German trade interests said the U.S. decision to withdraw from the deal will hit German companies and urge the EU to protect their interests. Trade between Germany and Iran reached 3.4 billion euros last year, according to BGA and other foreign trade association. What about Total SA? Total SA is a French multinational integrated oil and gas company and one of the 7 super major oil companies in the world. So then Q points us to an article from Iran Daily, and I'll get to that in a bit. Who recently visited the White House? What was their purpose? Coincidence? What about the safety and security of the world? What about preventing Iran nuclear capabilities? Fake news? Will the EU resort to protecting the deal so money flow remains in place? Why is Kerry in the EU? Will the US be forced to ban and declare certain EU countries off limits? Who controls elected leaders? Who do elected leaders report to? Pickle. Will Iran expose the names of corrupt officials? Pickle. Will the US expose the names of corrupt officials? And con deal. We await your answer. 48. On guard. Q. So when you follow that article from Iran Daily, it basically exposes that European businesses are the ones most affected by the U.S. sanctions on Iran. Interesting, eh? Because we thought it was global peace that was most affected. No. Looks like it's European businesses that are most affected. So how is that possible? The article goes on to say major companies, particularly in Europe, could see billions of dollars in commercial deals canceled because of the U.S. decision to reinstall sanctions on Iran. Though the ultimate impact remains unclear due to the possibility of renegotiations and exemptions, experts say. U.S. President Donald Trump's decision to withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal and reimpose sanctions on Iran means companies worldwide must stop doing business with the country or run afoul of the U.S. government, AP reported, Associated Press. Companies and countries with commercial deals with Iran, So, when Macron and Merkel came over to the U.S. and they were on television and, we got to stay in the Iran deal for the safety of the world. For the safety of the world. It wasn't about the safety of the world. It was about lining their pockets. So when you think about the Iran deal and the billions and billions of dollars that disappeared on pallets cash, I wonder, did any of that cash end up in Angela Merkel's pockets or in Emmanuel Macron's pockets or in the pockets of Barack Obama or in the pockets of Hillary Clinton or in the pockets of Justin Trudeau? Or one must wonder where all this money went, because that's what he's kind of alluding to later in this post. When he says, what about safety and security of the world? Nah, that was nothing. They're worried about their money. Why is Kerry in the EU? It's funny because in the Able Danger Discord group the other morning, we were talking about this and we saw a picture of someone that looks like John Kerry inside France. And apparently he was there bad-mouthing President Trump. Will the U.S. be forced to ban and declare certain EU countries off limits? Who controls elected leaders? Who do elected leaders report to? Well, the people are supposed to control elected leaders. Elected leaders are supposed to report to the people. Pickle. So they're in a pickle now, because it looks like the elected leaders were involved in some sort of extortion racket, or bribery racket, or kickback racket, or something. Will Iran expose the names of corrupt officials? Pickle. Will the U.S. expose the names of corrupt officials and the con deal? So it looks like there was some sort of con deal going on. Iran and Barack Obama agreed to make it look like it's a nuclear arms deal, when in reality it's just stealing money from the United States and giving it to countries in Europe and Iran. Does that make sense? Doesn't make sense to me, and I'm a Canadian. That pisses me off. So I can just imagine how Americans feel. We await your answer, 48. My goodness, I hope that's 48 hours, because if that's 48 hours, it means there's almost 24 gone. So that means only a day until that's going to come out. That's huge. That's huge. So even though people are saying Q's not dropping anything, he's dropping lots of stuff. So I'm not going to bother going through that article. Q's next post, he posts two very interesting pictures. The first picture is a picture of John Kerry with Bashar al-Assad, the leader of Syria. The next picture is a picture of none other than Nancy Pelosi with Bashar al-Assad. And Q posts full circle. And he posts two articles. And it says, it's all connected. Welcome back, Uma. Now comes the pain. Q. Huma is Huma Abedin. Now, Huma Abedin was Hillary Clinton's right-hand gal. So he points us to two articles. What are these articles? So the first one's an article from The Hill. And it goes all the way back. Let's see if I can find the date. It goes back to 2016. 2016. And the article reads, the Clinton campaign is attempting once again to sweep important questions under the rug about top aide Huma Abedin, her family ties to the Muslim Brotherhood and to Saudi Arabia, and her role in the ballooning Clinton email scandal. The New York Post ran a detailed investigative piece over the weekend about Miss Abedin's work at the Journal of Muslim Minority Affairs from 1995 through 2008, a Sharia law journal whose editor-in-chief was Abedin's own mother. This is not some accidental association. Miss Abedin was for many years listed as an associate editor of the London-based publication and wrote for the journal while working as an intern in the Clinton White House in the mid-1990s. Her mother, Saliha Abedin, sits on the Presidency Staff Council of the International Islamic Council for Dawah and Relief, a group that is chaired by the leader of the Muslim Brotherhood, Sheikh Yusuf al-Qaradawi. The evidence, in my opinion, is overwhelming. Huma Abedin is nothing short of a Muslim Brotherhood princess. born into an illustrious family of Brotherhood leaders. Her father, Saeed Zainul Abidin, was a professor in Saudi Arabia who founded the Institute for Muslim Minority Affairs, an institution established by the government of Saudi Arabia with the support of the Muslim World League. That is not guilt by association, but what federal prosecutors would call a nexus of like-minded people who shared the same goals. So then the next link that Q sends us to is a letter sent to Keith Ellison. He was, I believe, the leader of the Democratic National Committee back then, or he was a member of, he was a Democrat anyway. And it's a letter from Michelle Bachmann back in 2012, again, when President Obama was president. And the letter starts, as you know, on June 13, 2012, members of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, myself included, and the House Judiciary Committee sent letters to the Inspectors General of the Department of Defense, Department of State, Department of Justice, Department of Homeland Security, and the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. The purpose of these letters was to request a multi-department investigation into potential Muslim Brotherhood infiltration into the United States government. Infiltration. Abidin. We find this is not only necessary but beyond timely, considering that departments and agencies of the U.S. government, including but not limited to those departments to which these Inspector General letters were sent, have in the past and continue to be advised by organizations and individuals that the U.S. government itself has identified in federal court as fronts for international Muslim Brotherhood. Now, this letter goes on to state 5 broad facts, okay? Brotherhood operatives within U.S. government may have directly influenced the U.S. intelligence community assessment of the Muslim Brotherhood as presented by Director of National Intelligence James Clapper in testimony before the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence on February 10, 2011. The mother, brother, and deceased father of Huma Abedin, Deputy Chief of Staff to Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, are connected to the Muslim Brotherhood, and that she too, by extension, may be working on the organization's behalf. The Organization of Islamic Cooperation, an international organization of 57 countries to which President George W. Bush created a special envoy position, is determined to impose Sharia worldwide and undermine the U.S. Constitution. So you see, it's not just the Democrats. George W. Bush was in on it too. The Islamic Society of North America, an umbrella organization of American Muslim groups, is the largest Muslim Brotherhood front in the United States. And 5, the Muslim Public Affairs Council and the Muslim Advocates, 2 civil rights organizations, exercise influence in ways that align with Muslim Brotherhood agendas. When you go to the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, you will find a list of their member states, and I'm going to post that list, their little symbols of their flags, and I'm not going to rhyme off all the countries, but we're going to go through them, and you'll see that some of the countries have little yellow blocks around them. Well, those countries just so happen to also be members of the Commonwealth. And amongst those members of the Commonwealth, you've got Uganda, you've got Pakistan, you've got the Republic of Sierra Leone, you've got the Republic of the Gambia, you've also got Malaysia and the Federal Republic of Nigeria that are both Commonwealth countries and also members of Organization of Islamic Cooperation. So we learned in that article that the U.S. had a special envoy going to this meeting every year, and my hunch was that there's no way Justin Trudeau's skipping out on this one. So sure enough, I found an article dating from June, I believe it's June 2017. No, July 2017. Sure enough, Canada attends meeting of Organization of Islamic Cooperation. The Liberal government of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has dispatched Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Omar Al-Ghabara, to attend the meeting of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation on the Ivory Coast. The 44th session of the Council of Foreign Ministers of the 56-member Organization of Muslim States is taking place in the Ivorian capital Abidjan today and tomorrow. Al-Khabara is expected to meet with a number of heads of delegation from OIC member states to discuss opportunities for strengthening engagement with bilateral partners and to promote Canada's approach to diverse and inclusive society, said Jocelyn Sweet, a spokesperson for Global Affairs Canada. Yeah, you know, one of those diverse and inclusive societies where they have prayer places where women are allowed. You know, one of those diverse and inclusive societies. Yeah, that'd be great. Canada has many partners and friends in the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, Al-Ghabara said in a statement. We value these relationships and look forward to discussing ways to strengthen our collaboration and partnership on shared priorities, opportunities, and challenges. The meeting's central theme this year is youth, peace, and development in a world of solidarity. Canada, which is neither a member nor an observer at the organization, attended the OIC Foreign Ministers meeting for the first time in 2013. Oh, wait. Justin Trudeau wasn't Prime Minister in 2013. Stephen Harper was. So I guess, do we call Stephen Harper Jihadi Stephen? I mean, if we're going to call Jihadi Justin, we may as well call Stephen Harper Jihadi Stephen. It looks like they were all in cahoots. I mean, they're all going to this meeting of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. I mean, you know, Canada, 3% of our population. I mean, you got to be there, right? Got to be there. How does it feel to know that there's a shadow government in Washington, D.C., made up of Obama and Clinton puppets whose sole purpose is to destroy the presidency of Donald Trump and influence the mainstream media with talking points that they craft in the swamp dungeons of D.C.? How does it feel, America, to know that your government was selling you out to the highest bidder? And in most cases, the highest bidder seems to be an Islamic or a Commonwealth country, which, of course, belongs to the royal family of the Rothschilds, or supposed allies, lurking behind every corner, ready to pounce on the last bastion of real freedom on this planet, the United States of America. How does it feel, Commonwealth members, to know that the Queen of England knows no boundaries when it comes to the partnerships she forges? She pretends to be a Christian to the whole world, but she seems to be in bed with every and all types of religious folks for the sole purpose of world domination. How does it feel, Canada, to realize that not only Jihadi Justin, but also Stephen Harper and his Conservatives seem to think that 3% of our population deserves to be well represented at the Organization for Islamic Cooperation? I didn't get that memo. I wonder if the other 97% would agree that Canada should be part of a group of nations where, in many cases, female genital mutilation is encouraged, and they throw gay people off buildings just for being gay. Are we trying to make those countries more Canadian, or are we trying to make Canada more like them? Is this what the 97% wants, or are we appeasing the 3% to destroy the 97%? What's strange is the last time I checked, there's no organization for Christian cooperation. But then again, those who are still asleep probably think the Vatican fills that role in 2018. But no. The Vatican and its snake-dedicated temples and snake-shaped temples and their satanic carvings, they're just wolves in sheep's clothing, like the rest of them. Is it your Canada? Is it your America? Is it your Australia? Is it your New Zealand or United Kingdom? Or is it theirs? The choice is yours. Where we go one, we go all. I'm done now.
If you enjoyed this video, you may want to take a look at other videos you find on this page. Don't forget, if you like it, push the subscribe button under this video, and feel free to like and share with all your friends. Follow me on Twitter by following the link on this page. If you want to interact, feel free to post a comment, but please, no obscenities. Thanks for watching. Billy Joyce signing off and reminding you that I'm here to help you weather the storm.